we gotta love our Post-it notes. What would we do without Post-it notes? We used to live without them, amazingly enough, but we've got small Post-it notes, we've got big Post-it notes. There's even giant-sized, wall-sized Post-it notes that you can use when you're in a meeting and put them up on the wall when you're doing strategic planning. My name is Diane Cunningham, and I do strategic planning for your life. I'm a life planner, I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, I'm a consultant, and today I want to just tell you about regrouping, because we can move these around. And lots of times our life is in movement. We have to rearrange things, and we have to regroup after a temporary setback, just like you would need to move the Post-it notes based on the amount of room you have. If you have a whole room and a whole wall, you can use a big Post-it note, but if you have a little tiny piece of paper, then you're going to need just a small Post-it note. Now, what do I mean by regrouping? Well, the definition of regrouping is to arrange in a new grouping, to come back together in a tactical formation, or to reorganize for renewed effort after a temporary setback. Now, I don't know about you, but a lot of us, me included, have just gone through a lot of changes. Our lives are changing. People are losing jobs. Lots of the people we know are losing jobs. There's people that are having a lot of change in income related to the economy right now. So let me give you 3 reasons, 3 ways, and 3 things not to do when you are in the process of regrouping. Okay, you ready? These are the don't do's, okay? So number 1, don't run. Don't run. We need to walk. You know, our mom always told us not to run by the pool. She told us not to run through the house. And so when we're in the process of regrouping, we don't want to run away from the situation. We don't want to run away from the problem, because, you know what, denial doesn't work. It's still there. So we need to walk with our eyes wide open so that we can see what we're walking into, so we can see how we can regroup, so we can be very aware of what's happening. So just be, number 1, just always remember, don't run. Don't run away. Don't run too quickly. Don't try to avoid it or get over it or go underneath it. We need to go through it. The second thing not to do when you're regrouping is don't regurgitate. Now, it's a fancy word for basically don't just get stuck saying the same thing over and over again. Don't tell your troubles to everyone you know, because you're really just venting and commiserating, and you're not moving forward. You're actually keeping yourself stuck more by regurgitating the problem over and over and over again. And we all know that we have all done this. We're all guilty of regurgitating. And so when you begin to recognize that you're doing this, just stop yourself. Don't do it. And when you hear other people doing it, don't you notice that? You hear them saying the same thing, complaining about the same stuff during the regrouping process over and over, and you just really want to say, you know, I've heard you say that so many times. What are you going to do about it? So that's my question for you. What are you going to do about it? And don't regurgitate. And the last tip I have for you, number 3, is don't retaliate. You know, I mean, we all know that the world tells us to retaliate, to go get back at them, to file a lawsuit against them, to go after them. And you know what? We're going to choose not to do that. We are going to choose to not retaliate when we're regrouping. For 1, because we aren't thinking clearly. For 2, because we need to take ownership. And the other people might be offering blame, but you know what? We need to take a pause and take a minute to figure out what we need to do. And by throwing the ball back, by throwing the blame back, that doesn't help anybody right now. So my challenge to you is this 3rd don't, and it's to don't retaliate with your words, with your actions, with the language you're speaking, not even to that person, but about the situation, because it's very toxic. We have to be very careful of what we say, think, and do. So there are your 3 tips when you're in the process of regrouping, which, you know what, we are all either going into a crisis, going through a crisis, or coming out of a crisis. And so we need to be kind to ourselves, kind to the people we meet, kind to strangers, because you know what, that person could be in a very challenging regrouping situation. So I'll leave you with these 3 words: regroup, refocus, and refresh. Because as you come out of this regrouping and you've chosen not to do these behaviors, you've chosen not to regurgitate, then you are going to be ready You're going to be ready to go. You're going to be refreshed, and you're going to be able to see the world in a new way. Because everything that we go through, there's a reason for it. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Diane Cunningham. I love to offer inspiration, challenge, motivation in any way I can. It is my mission. So I hope to see you again. Let me know how I can coach you to success.